The diamond engagement ring catches the candlelight as Fiona slides it off her finger, the sound of metal against skin sharp as a slap. I watch like a ghost at my own funeral as she places it gently on the restaurant table between us, her eyes already distant, already belonging to someone else. "I'm sorry, Nolan," she whispers, but her voice carries no real regret, only relief. "Wyatt and I, we didn't plan for this to happen.
Ow.
My best friend since college, my business partner, my brother and everything but blood. Wyatt Croft sits in his car outside, waiting to drive away with my entire world. In my first life, this moment destroyed me completely. I spent months drowning in whiskey and self-pity while they built their perfect life on the ashes of mine. But this time is different. This time, I know exactly how this story ends. This time, I'm going to marry her billionaire sister, Anya Thorne, and turn their betrayal into my greatest victory. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The upscale bistro in downtown. Thornfield buzzes with the kind of sophisticated conversation that money buys, but all I can hear is the thundering of my own heartbeat. Fiona sits across from me in the booth we've claimed as ours for the past 3 years. The same corner spot where we celebrated every milestone of our relationship. Tonight, she's ending it all. "You have to understand, Nolan," she continues, her perfectly manicured fingers now clasped together where my ring used to rest. "What Wyatt and I have. It's different. It's real. It's real." The word hits me like a physical blow. Were the 3 years we spent together fake? The late-night conversations about our future? The house we toured last month in Millbrook Heights? The wedding venue we booked for next spring? All of it just an elaborate charade? I want to ask her when it started, but I already know. Out. Lived this conversation before, in another life, another timeline where I was too shocked and heartbroken to think clearly. This time, I remember every detail with crystal clarity. It started 6 months ago at Wyatt's housewarming party. While I was in the kitchen getting drinks, Fiona and Wyatt had shared what she later called a moment of connection. I'd been oblivious, trusting, secure in my relationships with the two people I loved most in the world, in my previous life. I'd spent the next 4 months as a broken man. I'd discovered them together by accident, Wyatt's jacket draped over Fiona's chair at a coffee shop, their hands intertwined like lovers, not friends. The confrontation that followed had been devastating. Fiona had chosen him without hesitation, and Wyatt, my business partner in our rapidly growing marketing agency, looked me in the eye and said he was sorry, but love couldn't be helped. They'd forced me out of the company we'd built together, citing irreconcilable differences that made it impossible for us to work together. Within 6 months, they'd expanded our client base, landed the Morrison Industries account I'd been courting for years, moved into a penthouse overlooking Steinberg Lake. Meanwhile, I've been living in a studio apartment surviving on freelance, projects, and cheap takeout. The final blow had come when I'd seen their wedding announcement in the Thornfield Tribune's society section. They'd chosen the same venue Fiona and I had picked, even used the same florist. It was as if they'd stolen my entire life plan and made it their own. I died that night, not literally. But something essential in me had broken beyond repair. A car accident 3 months later had ended my misery permanently. It was too much alcohol, too little sleep, and a moment of distraction at the wrong intersection. But somehow, impossibly, I'd woken up 6 months ago with all those memories intact. At first, I had thought it was just a vivid nightmare. But as the days progressed exactly as I remembered them, I'd realized the truth. I'd been given a second chance. "Nolan, are you listening to me?" Fiona's voice brings me back to the present moment. I focus on her face, the face I'd once thought I'd spend my life waking up next to. She's beautiful, there's no denying that. Classic features, honey blonde hair that falls in perfect waves, the kind of natural elegance that stops conversations. When she walks into a room, but looking at her now, I see what I'd missed before, the coldness behind her green eyes. The way she measures every word for maximum impact, the calculated nature of even this breakup. "I'm listening," I say quietly. "You're telling me that our..." 3-year relationship, our engagement, our plans for the future, none of it was real. She flinches slightly at my tone. In our first life, I'd been shouting by this point, making a scene that had drawn stares from other diners. This time, my voice is eerily calm. That's not what I said, she protests. What we had was real, but Wyatt offers something better. I lean back in my seat, studying her reaction. More money, more status, better connections. His family's construction business is worth $50 million, and mine's just a marketing agency with potential. This isn't about money, she says. But the way she avoids my eyes tells me everything I need to know. It's absolutely about money. Fiona Reed comes from old Thornfield society, the kind of family that has a trust fund, but not much actual cash flow. Her father, a retired judge, and her mother, who serves on every charity board in the city, maintained appearances for decades while quietly hemorrhaging the family fortune. Fiona needs security, and in her mind, Wyatt Croft provides more of it than I do. What she doesn't know, what none of them know, is that in 18 months, my marketing agency would have landed the contract with Blackstone Entertainment, the media conglomerate that would have made us the most successful marketing firm on the East Coast. In my previous life, Wyatt had taken credit for that deal after forcing me out. But there's another secret. One that makes this betrayal even more delicious in hindsight. Fiona's older sister, Anya Thorne, had built a tech empire from nothing. It was worth over $2 billion. Anya, who had always found Fiona's materialistic nature distasteful. Anya, who had tried to warn me about her sister's true nature multiple times. Anya, who had been nothing but kind to me despite Fiona's attempts to keep us apart in my previous life. I'd been too heartbroken and too proud to reach out to anyone in Fiona's family after the breakup. This time, things would be different. Should go, Fiona says, gathering her purse. Wyatt's waiting. I watch her stand, noting the new designer dress I'd never seen before. The expensive perfume that Wyatt must have bought her. She's already transformed herself into the woman she thinks he wants. One question, I say, as she prepares to leave. When you're lying in bed with him tonight, in the house we toured together, will you think about this moment? Will you remember that you traded 3 years of genuine love for a bigger bank account? For the first time tonight, she looks truly uncomfortable. Nolan, don't make this harder than it has to be. I'm not making anything hard, Fiona. I'm just making sure you understand what you're giving up. She leaves without another word, her heels clicking against the marble floor as she walks toward the exit. Through the window, I watch her get into Wyatt's Mercedes, the same car where he'd driven me to the hospital when I'd broken my arm in college, where we'd celebrated our first major client signing, where we'd planned the future of our business. In my previous life, this moment had marked the beginning of my destruction. This time, it marks the beginning of my resurrection. I pull out my phone and scroll to a number I'd never had the courage to call before. Dr. Anya Thorne, CEO of Thorne Technologies, venture capitalist, and Fiona's brilliant older sister who had always seen right through her. Time to see if she's interested in a partnership that would benefit us both, while giving Fiona and Wyatt exactly what they deserve. Sit in my car in the bistro parking lot for exactly 17 minutes, not because I'm paralyzed by grief this time, but because I'm calculating. In my previous life, I'd driven straight home and consumed half a bottle of bourbon while staring at photos of Fiona and me. I'd called in sick to work for 3 days, ignored Wyatt's increasingly frantic messages, basically handed them both the perfect excuse to paint me as unstable and unreliable. This time, I'm thinking like a chess player, not a wounded animal. My phone buzzes with a text from Wyatt. Bro, we need to talk. This isn't how I wanted things to go down. The audacity of that message almost makes me laugh. In our first timeline, I'd responded with anger, accusations, and ultimatums that only pushed them closer together and made me look like the villain in their love story. I'd played right into their narrative, the possessive, unstable ex who couldn't handle losing gracefully. I delete the message without responding. Instead, I pull up my contacts and stare at a name I'd never had the courage to call before. Dr. Anya Thorne. I'd met Fiona's older sister exactly 7 times over the course of our relationship, and each encounter had been more intriguing than the last. The first time was at Fiona's birthday party 2 years ago. While everyone else was fawning over Fiona's new designer handbag, Anya had cornered me near the bar and asked pointed questions about my business model, my growth projections, and my long-term vision. She'd listened with the intensity of someone who understood the difference between genuine ambition and empty talk. Empty talk. Your marketing strategies are innovative, she'd said, swirling her wine thoughtfully. You have a real understanding of consumer psychology. Have you considered expanding into tech consulting? Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I'd been flattered but confused by her interest. Fiona had quickly steered the conversation elsewhere, later explaining that Anya always tries to poach talented people for her network. The second encounter had been at the Reed family Christmas party, while Fiona had been showing off her engagement. Ring 2 cousins, Anya had approached me with a business proposition. Thorne Technologies was launching a new consumer app and needed a marketing firm that understood both traditional and digital landscapes. I've been following your work with the Hartfield Restaurant Group, she'd said. That campaign was brilliant, increasing their foot traffic by 40% in 6 months. I could use someone with that kind of strategic thinking. Again, Fiona had interrupted, practically dragging me away with some excuse about needing help in the kitchen. Later, she'd been furious. I can't believe Anya was trying to recruit you at a family party, she'd snapped. She has no boundaries. Promise me you won't work with her. I'd promised because I loved Fiona and wanted to keep peace in her family. What I hadn't understood then was that Fiona wasn't protecting family harmony. She was protecting her own interests. She'd known that any professional relationship between Anya and me would expose the differences between the sisters, and Fiona would not have compared favorably. The remaining 5 encounters had followed similar patterns. Anya would engage me in substantive conversation about business, technology, or current events, while Fiona would find ways to cut our interactions short. I'd always assumed it was simple sibling rivalry, Fiona feeling overshadowed by her more successful sister. Now I understand it was something else entirely. Fiona had been afraid that I'd see what she couldn't offer: intellectual partnership, genuine respect for ambition, and the kind of strategic thinking that builds empires rather than just climbing social ladders. Anya Thorne was everything Fiona pretended to be. At 32, she'd built Thorne Technologies from a small startup into a $2 billion enterprise specializing in artificial intelligence and machine learning applications. She'd been featured on the cover of Fortune magazine 3 times, had given a TED Talk about ethical technology development that had been viewed over 15 million times, and was consistently ranked among the most influential women in tech. More importantly, she was single by choice, having famously turned down a merger proposal disguised as a marriage proposal from a tech rival 2 years ago. I don't need a man to validate my success, she'd told Forbes magazine, but I wouldn't be opposed to finding a partner who could enhance it. I'd always admired her from a distance, but Fiona had made sure that distance remained substantial. Now, with Fiona's betrayal fresh in my mind and my previous life's knowledge guiding my decisions, I can see the opportunity I'd missed in my previous timeline. Anya had remained single for exactly 18 more months after Fiona and Wyatt's wedding. Then she'd shocked everyone by marrying Dr. Elias Finch, a brilliant biotech entrepreneur who'd matched her intellect and ambition. Their partnership had been legendary, combining his medical technology, innovations with her AI expertise to create healthcare solutions that had revolutionized the industry. But Elias Finch doesn't move to Thornfield for another 6 months. In this timeline, he's still building his company in San Francisco, which means Anya is still unattached, still looking for the right partner, still building her empire alone. I know other things too, details that my broken heart had absorbed. Even as my world crumbled, Anya had been quietly acquiring smaller tech firms, positioning herself for a major expansion into the entertainment industry. She'd been searching for a marketing partner who understood both technology and traditional media, exactly the kind of expertise my agency specialized in my previous life. She'd eventually partnered with Morrison Industries' internal marketing team after I'd lost the account to Wyatt, but I remember reading in a trade publication that the partnership had been disappointing. that Morrison's team lacked the innovative, thinking Anya had been seeking. This time, things would be different. I scroll through my phone's photo gallery until I find the picture. I'm looking for a screenshot of a news article I'd saved months ago. Thorne Technologies seeks strategic marketing partnership for entertainment division launch. The article was dated 3 weeks ago, which means Anya is actively looking for exactly what I can provide. But this won't be just a business partnership. I know from overheard conversations at family gatherings that Anya had always found Fiona's choices questionable, but her carefully neutral responses to questions about Fiona's engagement had spoken volumes. I hope Fiona finds what she's looking for, had been her standard response. Delivered with the kind of diplomatic smile that said far more than words ever could. The plan crystallizing in my mind is audacious, possibly insane, but undeniably brilliant. Fiona and Wyatt think they've won by stealing my business partner and my fiancé. They have no idea that they've actually freed me to pursue something far more valuable. I'm not just going to rebuild my life. I'm going to build something so much better that their betrayal will look like the favor it actually was. My finger hovers over Anya's contact information. In my previous life, I'd been too proud, too broken, too focused on what I'd lost to see what I could gain. This time, I'm going to approach her not as Fiona's fiancé looking for sympathy, but as a strategic partner with something valuable to offer. I take a deep breath and dial her number. This conversation is going to change everything. The phone rings twice before a crisp, professional voice answers. Anya Thorne. Even her greeting conveys confidence and efficiency. No unnecessary pleasantries, no wasted time, just direct communication from someone who values every minute of her day. Dr. Thorne, this is Nolan Blackwood. Fiona's I catch myself before saying fiancé. We've met several times at family gatherings. There's a brief pause and I can almost hear her mental gears shifting. Nolan, yes, of course. The marketing strategist with the innovative Hartfield campaign. I remember you well. Tone is neutral, but not cold, which is more than I'd hoped. Forgiven that I'm calling her at 9:30 p.m. on a Thursday night. In my previous life, I'd never understood how much attention Anya actually paid to conversations. But now I realize she remembers everything, including business details most people would forget. I apologize for calling so late, I continue. But I wanted to reach out about a potential business opportunity. I saw the announcement about Thorne Technologies expanding into entertainment marketing, and I believe I have something you might find interesting. Another pause, longer this time. I see, and this couldn't wait until business hours because the question hangs in the air and I realize she's testing me. Anya doesn't take meetings or calls without understanding the full context, and she's astute enough to know that something significant must have happened to prompt this timing. Because circumstances have changed dramatically in the last 2 hours, I say, choosing honesty over evasion. Fiona ended our engagement tonight. She's chosen to be with Wyatt Croft instead. The silence that follows is different, sharper, more attentive. When Anya speaks again, her voice carries a note I can't quite identify. I see, and you're calling me because in my grief-stricken state I might make poor business decisions. I allow a slight smile to color my voice. Actually, quite the opposite. I'm calling because for the first time in 3 years, I'm free to make the kinds of strategic partnerships that could benefit us both. Interesting perspective. There's definitely amusement in her tone now. Most people don't consider a broken engagement a business opportunity. Most people don't have the advantage of suddenly realizing they've been held back by someone who didn't want them to succeed. This time the pause is contemplative rather than testing. Would you care to elaborate on that? Take a breath, knowing this is the crucial moment. How many times over the past 2 years have you tried to discuss business opportunities with me, only to have Fiona interrupt or steer the conversation elsewhere? Several, she admits, and I can hear the curiosity sharpening in her voice. She was protecting her territory. She knew that any professional relationship between us would highlight certain incompatibilities in our personal relationship, such as the fact that I'm far more interested in building something meaningful than in simply maintaining social status, something I believe you understand better than most people. The line goes quiet for nearly 30 seconds. When Anya speaks again, her tone has shifted completely from polite interest to genuine engagement. Nolan, are you proposing what I think you're proposing? It depends on what you think I'm proposing. Strategic partnership between Thorne Technologies and your marketing firm, with the convenient side effect of making my sister extremely uncomfortable at family gatherings. I can't help but laugh. I'm proposing a strategic partnership that would be mutually beneficial regardless of any family drama it might cause. The fact that it might irritate Fiona is simply an unexpected bonus. The sound is thoughtful. Tell me about your vision for the entertainment industry expansion. For the next 20 minutes, I lay out everything I know about the market trends that are coming, the opportunities that traditional marketing firms are missing, and the specific strategies that would position Thorne Technologies as the dominant player in entertainment tech. I talk about consumer behavior patterns, demographic shifts, and the convergence of social media and traditional entertainment that most companies won't recognize for another year. I can tell I have her attention because she starts asking increasingly sophisticated questions, the kind that only someone with her level of strategic thinking would consider. You've clearly done extensive research, she says finally. But I have to ask, is this conversation happening because you genuinely believe in these opportunities or because you want to get back at my sister? It's a fair question, and it deserves an honest answer. 3 hours ago, I would have said I was motivated by opportunity, I admit. Now, I'd be lying if I said revenge wasn't a factor. But here's the thing. The best revenge is massive success. If we execute this partnership correctly, we'll both benefit enormously. And any discomfort it causes, Fiona and Wyatt will simply be evidence of how well we're doing. It's an interesting philosophy. She pauses again. Nolan, I'm going to ask you something, and I want a completely honest answer. Go ahead. Are you calling me because you see me as a business opportunity, or because you see me as a way to hurt my sister? The question stops me cold, because it cuts right to the heart of something I hadn't fully examined. In my previous life, I'd always been attracted to Anya's intelligence and drive. But I'd convinced myself that those feelings were inappropriate given my relationship with Fiona. Now, with that relationship destroyed, I'm forced to confront the truth. I'm calling you because you're the most brilliant person I know, I say slowly. And because every conversation we've ever had has been more intellectually stimulating than most people manage in months. If you were anyone else's sister, I would have tried to work with you years ago. In the personal aspect, my heart pounds as I venture into dangerous territory. The personal aspect is that I've always wondered what it would be like to be with someone who challenges me to be better rather than holding me back. Someone who sees ambition as an asset rather than a threat. The silence stretches so long that I start to wonder if I've crossed a line, pushed too hard, revealed too much. Finally, Anya speaks, and her voice is softer than I've ever heard it. Nolan, I think we should meet in person to discuss this properly. Are you free tomorrow evening? I'm free whenever you are. Good. There's a private dining room at the Grandview Hotel downtown. 8 p.m. We'll discuss the business proposition first, and then she pauses, and I can hear the smile in her voice. Well, we'll see where the conversation leads. I'll be there. One more thing, she adds, and now there's definitely mischief in her tone. I assume you'll be choosing your own restaurants from now on? Despite everything, I find myself laughing. Definitely. No more letting other people choose my venues. Smart. Man, I'll see you tomorrow, Nolan. After she hangs up, I sit in my car for another 10 minutes, processing what just happened. In the span of one phone call, I've potentially secured the business partnership of a lifetime and opened the door to something personal that could be extraordinary. My phone buzzes with another text from Wyatt. Come on, man. Don't leave things like this. We're family. It's time. I don't delete the message. Instead, I type back, you're right. We should talk. How about lunch tomorrow? My treat. I'm not ready for that conversation yet, but I will be after I meet with Anya. By tomorrow night. I'll know exactly how to handle Wyatt Croft and his guilty conscience. As I drive home, I find myself thinking about chess again. In our first timeline, Wyatt and Fiona had checkmated me in 5 moves. This time, I'm playing a completely different game, and they don't even know it started. The Grandview Hotel's private dining room overlooks the Thornfield skyline, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view that seems designed to make power deals feel inevitable. Anya arrives precisely at 8, and I'm struck again by how differently she carries herself compared to her sister. Where Fiona's beauty demands attention, Anya's confidence commands respect. She's wearing a charcoal business suit that probably costs more than most people's monthly salary, but she wears it like armor, not decoration. Her dark hair is pulled back in a sleek ponytail, and her only jewelry is a vintage Rolex that belonged to her grandfather, a detail I remember from A Family Story. "You clean up well for someone who just had his life imploded," she observes, settling into the chair across from me. "Funny thing about having your life imploded," I reply, pouring wine from the bottle I'd ordered in advance. A 2015 Barolo I remembered her mentioning at last year's Christmas party. It forces you to focus on what actually matters. Her eyebrows rise slightly when she recognizes the wine. "You have a good memory. I pay attention to things that matter." Over the next hour, we dissect the entertainment industry partnership with the precision of surgeons. Anya has done her homework since our call. She's reviewed my agency's portfolio, analyzed our client retention rates, and even pulled our financial statements. I'm not surprised. This is how she approaches every business decision. "Your work with the Hartfield Group was impressive," she says, scrolling through data on her tablet. 40% increase in foot traffic, 60% boost in online engagement, and you managed it without compromising their brand identity. Most marketing firms would have pushed them toward trendy campaigns that wouldn't have suited their demographic. Understanding the client's authentic voice is more important than following industry trends, I reply, which is why I think our partnership could be revolutionary. Thorne Technologies has the innovation, but tech companies often struggle with humanizing their brand story. And you think you can humanize artificial intelligence? I think I can help people understand that AI isn't replacing human connection. It's enhancing it. Your healthcare applications, your educational platforms, your entertainment algorithms, they're all about making human experiences better, not eliminating them. She leans back, studying me with the intensity of someone evaluating a complex equation. Most marketing executives would have pitched me flashy campaigns and celebrity endorsements. Most marketing executives don't understand that your target demographic is more sophisticated than that. Your users want to feel smart about their choices, not manipulated into them. Exactly. She sets down her tablet and looks at me directly. "Nolan, I want to be clear about something. This partnership interest predates your breakup with Fiona by months. I've been watching your work since the Hartfield campaign, waiting for the right opportunity to approach you. But Fiona made it clear that any professional relationship between us would be unwelcome." She never said it directly, but the message was unmistakable. Anya's smile is wry. My sister has always been territorial about her relationships. We sign a preliminary partnership agreement. Before dessert arrives, a 6-month trial contract with options for expansion. The terms are more generous than I'd expected, giving my agency significant creative control while providing the financial backing to scale rapidly. But as we shake hands on the deal, Anya doesn't immediately let go. "Now that we've handled the business," she says, her voice dropping to something more personal, "perhaps we should discuss the other aspect of this arrangement." "What other aspect?" "The part where we explore whether there's something between us beyond mutual professional respect." My pulse quickens. "Is that what we're doing?" "I think we've been doing that since the moment you called me last night." Question is whether we're brave enough to admit it. Before I can respond, she's standing, gathering her purse and tablet. "Walk me to my car?" The elevator ride to the parking garage is charged with a tension that has nothing to do with business, and everything to do with the way she's looking at me like I'm a puzzle she's finally figured out how to solve. "Nolan," she says as we reach her Tesla, "I want you to understand something. Whatever this becomes between us, it's not about Fiona. She may have introduced us, but what I'm feeling has nothing to do with her." "Could I?" reply, stepping closer. "Because what I'm feeling has everything to do with you." She kisses me then, soft and deliberate, like she approaches everything else in her life with complete confidence in her decision. When we break apart, she's smiling in a way I've never seen before. "This is going to complicate things," she murmurs. "The best partnerships usually do." The next morning, my lunch meeting with Wyatt takes place at Morrison's Steakhouse, neutral territory where we'd celebrated our first major client signing 3 years ago. He's already seated when I arrive. looking like he hasn't slept much. Good. You look... ... Starts, then stops, confusion crossing his features. You look good. It's better than I expected. Thank you. Nolan, about last night. Last night was a gift. I interrupt, settling into my seat with the calm confidence Anya helped me find. You freed me from a relationship that was holding me back. Now I can pursue opportunities I never would have considered before. His face goes pale. What do you mean? I mean that as of last night, Blackwood Marketing has entered into a strategic partnership with Thorne Technologies. We'll be handling their entertainment division launch, their consumer AI marketing, and their expansion into international markets. The color drains from his face completely. Wyatt understands business well enough to know what this means. Thorne Technologies doesn't just hire marketing firms, they acquire them, integrate them, turn them into billion-dollar subsidiaries. You're working with Anya? His voice is barely a whisper. I'm working with the most brilliant business mind in the city, I correct. The fact that she's Fiona's sister is irrelevant. Fiona is going to realize that in choosing you, she chose a smaller pond instead of an ocean. I lean forward, my voice still perfectly calm. But that's her decision to live with. Wyatt stares at me like he's seeing a stranger. In our previous timeline, he'd expected tears, anger, desperate attempts to win back either him or Fiona. This version of me, strategic, focused, already moving towards something bigger, is not in his playbook. The business, he says finally. Our agency. We need to talk about how to handle the transition. Actually, we don't. I slide a folder across the table. I've reviewed our partnership agreement. There's a clause that allows either partner to buy out the other's share at fair market value within 30 days of a material change in the partnership dynamic. His hands shake slightly as he opens the folder. You're buying me out? I'm exercising my legal right to maintain control of the client relationships I developed. You're welcome to start fresh with Fiona's support, of course. The number on the buyout agreement makes him choke on his water. It's fair market value, exactly as specified in our contract, but it's far less than he'd hoped the agency was worth. This is insane, he sputters. You can't just... I can, actually. Everything is legal, everything is fair, and everything was already agreed upon when we signed our partnership papers. I stand, leaving money for my untouched meal. You wanted Fiona more than you wanted our business partnership. Now you have her. As I walk away, I hear him calling my name, but I don't turn around. In my previous life, this moment would have been about revenge, about hurting him the way he'd hurt me. This time, it's simply about claiming what was always mine and moving towards something infinitely better. That evening, Anya texts me. How did the lunch go? Exactly as planned, I reply. How was your day? Productive. Also, I had an interesting call from my sister. My phone rings immediately. She wanted to warn me about you, Anya says, without preamble, laughter in her voice. Apparently you're devastated and unstable, and probably trying to use me to get back at her. You tell her? I told her that if she truly believed you were unstable, she probably shouldn't have gotten engaged to you in the first place. Her pause is full of mischief. Yeah, she didn't have a good answer for that. 3 weeks later, the announcement appears. In the Thornfield Business Journal, Blackwood Marketing acquired by Thorne Technologies in strategic partnership deal. The article mentions that the merger positions both companies for aggressive expansion into entertainment and consumer AI markets. What the article doesn't mention is that the newly minted VP of Strategic Marketing for Thorne Technologies has been seen dining with the CEO at increasingly intimate restaurants around the city. The game is no longer about healing from betrayal. It's about building an empire. The Thornfield Business Excellence Awards ceremony is the social event of the year, a glittering affair where the city's elite gather to celebrate success and network over champagne. 3 months ago, I'd planned to attend with Fiona on my arm, hoping to land the Morrison Industries account that would make my small agency competitive tonight. I'm walking the red carpet with Anya Thorne as her official partner, both personally and professionally. Blackwood Thorne Technologies has just been nominated for Innovation Partnership of the Year. I'm wearing a tuxedo that costs more than my old monthly rent. The photographers recognize Anya immediately. But tonight, they're equally interested. In me, Mr. Blackwood, how does it feel to go from startup founder to tech mogul in 3 months? One shouts. It feels like finally being where I belong, I reply. And Anya's proud smile makes it worth every camera flash. Inside the ballroom, we work the room like the power couple we've become. Anya introduces me to venture capitalists, media executives, and tech innovators who treat me as her equal, not just her plus one. The conversations are substantive, the opportunities real, and I can feel the architecture of my new life solidifying. With every handshake, then I see them across the room. Fiona and Wyatt stand near the bar, looking polished but somehow smaller than I remember. Fiona wears a beautiful dress, but it's not designer, not the kind of designer she used to covet. Wyatt's suit is nice, but off the rack. They're trying to project success, but next to the genuine power players in this room, they look like they're playing dress-up. They look ... Anya pauses, following my gaze. Like they're realizing they chose the shallow end of the pool, I finish. Fiona spots us first. Her face goes through a series of expressions, surprise, confusion, and finally something that looks like regret, she whispers to Wyatt, who turns pale when he sees us together. They approach during the cocktail hour. Just as Anya and I are discussing a potential acquisition with the CEO of Morrison Industries, the same account Wyatt and Fiona had been pursuing, Nolan, Fiona says, her voice carefully controlled. Anya, you both look successful. We are, Anya replies simply, her arm linked through mine. I heard about the partnership, Wyatt adds, trying to sound casual. Congratulations, really. ... Morrison CEO, sensing tension, excuses himself, but not before shaking my hand and saying, "Call me Monday. I think we have a lot to discuss." As he walks away, I see Wyatt's face fall. That was his potential client, his hope for breakthrough. Now it's mine. Nolan, Fiona says quietly. Could we talk privately for a moment? Anya squeezes my arm gently. I'll be right over there, she murmurs, kissing my cheek before gracefully withdrawing. You've changed, Fiona says. Once we're alone near the balcony doors, I've grown, I correct. There's a difference. Out. This thing with Anya, it's not real, is it? You're doing this to hurt me. I study her face, remembering when her opinion mattered more than anything else in the world. Now she looks like a stranger, pretending to be someone I used to know. Fiona, I want you to listen carefully because I'm only going to say this once. I begin, my voice gentle but firm. What Anya and I have is the most real thing I've ever experienced. We challenge each other, we respect each other, and we're building something extraordinary together. What you and I had was ... practice. Her eyes fill with tears. You don't mean that? I mean every word. You taught me what I didn't want in a partner. Anya showed me what I never knew I needed. The announcement that dinner is served saves us from a longer conversation. As we return to the main ballroom, I find Anya waiting with a gentle smile. Everything. Okay? She asks. Everything's perfect, I reply, and I mean it. When they announce the Innovation Partnership Award, Anya and I stand together on stage accepting recognition for work that's already changing industries. The applause is thunderous. But what I notice most is the empty space at the table where Fiona and Wyatt had been sitting. They left during the speech. They couldn't stay to watch my victory. Later, as Anya and I danced to the closing song, she whispers in my ear, "Any regrets?" I look around the ballroom at the life I've built, at the woman in my arms who makes me better in every way, at the future that stretches ahead of us like an unlimited horizon. Just one, I tell her, that it took so long to find you. 1 year. Later, I'm standing in the penthouse office of Blackwood Thorne Technologies, watching the sunset paint the Thornfield skyline in shades of gold and crimson. The view from the 42nd floor is spectacular, but what I'm really admiring is the woman beside me, pointing out details in the architectural plans spread across our conference table. The new headquarters will anchor the entire tech district, Anya explains, her finger tracing the blueprint. 1,500 employees, cutting-edge research facilities, and a startup incubator that will transform how this city thinks about innovation. Our company has grown beyond my wildest projections. The entertainment division I'd envisioned has revolutionized how content creators connect with audiences. Our AI applications have improved healthcare delivery in 12 countries. Morrison Industries' partnership led to 3 more Fortune 500 accounts. Last month, we acquired 2 of our former competitors, but the real victory isn't measured in revenue or recognition. It's measured in the life we've built together. Mr. Blackwood? My assistant's voice comes through the intercom. Shh. Your 4 o'clock appointment is here. I glance at the schedule, smiling when I see the name Jake Morrison, recent college graduate whose girlfriend just left him for his business partner. He'd reached out through our company's mentorship program, looking for advice on rebuilding his marketing startup. Send him in, I tell her. Jake looks exactly like I did 18 months ago. Heartbroken, angry, and convinced his life is over. Over the next hour, I share what I've learned about turning betrayal into fuel for something better. About choosing strategic thinking over emotional reaction. About finding partners who elevate you instead of limiting you. The hardest part, I tell him as our meeting concludes, is realizing that their betrayal wasn't your ending, it was your beginning. He leaves with a business plan, a list of potential investors, and most importantly, hoped after he's gone, Anya joins me at the window. Another rescue mission? Another person who deserves to know that losing the wrong people is how you make room for the right ones. She leans against me, and I automatically wrap my arm around her waist. It's become our evening ritual, reviewing the day, planning tomorrow, simply being together in the space we've created. Any word from your sister lately? I ask, though I already know the answer. She sends Christmas cards. Anya replies with mild amusement, very formal ones. Fiona and Wyatt's startup had folded within 8 months, without my client relationships. In strategic vision, Wyatt had struggled to maintain the business. They'd moved to a smaller city, where the cost of living matched their reduced circumstances. Last I heard, they were managing a mid-sized marketing firm for someone else, competent employees. But no longer owners of their destiny, I don't take pleasure in their struggles, but I don't regret them either. They made their choices, and choices have consequences. Ready to go home? Anya asks, gathering her things. Home is the penthouse we bought together in Millbrook Heights, the same neighborhood where Fiona and I had once toured a modest house we couldn't quite afford. Our place has floor-to-ceiling windows, a home office that overlooks the lake, the kitchen where we cook dinner together while discussing everything from quantum computing to travel plans as we ride the elevator down. Anya takes my hand. Any regrets about the path that brought us here? I think about the question seriously, as I always do when she asks it. The betrayal that destroyed my old life created space for something infinitely better. The pain that nearly broke me became the foundation for unshakable strength. The humiliation that could have defined me instead became the motivation for extraordinary success. None, I tell her, bringing her hand to my lips. Every broken road led me to you. Some people get second chances. Others get exactly what they deserve, and sometimes, if you're very lucky, you get both. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. Don't forget to subscribe. And turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.